I'll try to wind up as soon as possible because we need to rush. My stomach is also grumbling, so just like yours. I come from this company, just started off this company called Beyond Teaching about 6 months back. I will take you through a couple of slides and arrive at some discussions on this. I happened to visit a village in central India at the outskirts of Madhya Pradesh, and this is a village, beautiful village. It has good view. I'll just show you what are. The village has just two main occupations. One is the handloom, the guy on the left hand side, and the people who can't manage handlooms. I mean, they're too old. They roll BDs, which is the Indian cigarette, right? That version. Usually, they will. The household income would be about anywhere between 2,000 rupees to maybe 8,000 or 9,000 rupees a month, which is fairly good in that scenario. I'm talking about 8,000 rupees is not too bad. Being an educator, I visited the schools that were there. This is a government school, and the gentleman in the blue collar is the headmaster. And I'll come back to some more details about the school, but this is what I wanted to give you the perspective all about in terms of technology use in villages. The building at the right hand side is the computer lab in this village, which is very surprising. I was very surprised to see 11 computers functioning there. They had a broadband connection as well, although at that point of time it was broken because some digging work had happened. Unfortunately, the village gets only about 5 hours or 6 hours of power, so there's no use of that computer lab, but they survive on some UPS and so on. But those UPS, unfortunately, at that point of time, had been taken by some government census people. So whatever they could earlier manage, even that was not available. But those are basic infrastructure problems. But otherwise, the teachers were very motivated. They had to, I was surprised to hear, I did some video interview with the gentleman here, and he could blare out Bloom's taxonomy and all such concepts by himself. Yeah. Another view of the same school. That lady is holding a cell phone and doing the class. The guys are all sitting there. Strangely, the girls had a classroom for themselves. The boys always had to sit outside. This is another school. That one was government school. This is a privately funded school, meaning that the children have to pay for themselves, pay for their fees. The fees is about 100 rupees a month. The previous school was completely funded by the government. And there are those 4 or 5 teachers. I think there were 7 teachers in that school, in this one. Government school also had a similar number. The rest of them were what they call as contract teachers. They were just going off. So, I'm just trying to put in perspective the kind of contrast that we have in just one village, which is not even probably 5 square kilometers. The government funded school, the salary of a teacher is 25,000 rupees, which in a village is huge. I couldn't find a shop where I could, get a genuine Cadbury's or, branded good quality chocolate. So I don't know what they spend their money on. So 25,000 rupees a month was the salary there for a teacher. Salary in the privately funded school was 1,500 rupees. They're doing similar jobs. Very huge infrastructure. They had everything for them, computer lab, library, everything was there. That place had a very small space. This was completely free for children. In fact, they got special funding for buying bicycles, because children had to come from about 5 kilometers away. Whereas this school has paying students, of course, very nominal, but from their standards, it's substantial. Better quality. I think my perception was that there was a better quality in government-funded school, whereas lower quality in that other school. That is my perception, but maybe that for that one school there could be other differences. Huge number of students here, 2,500, and there was a tiny number, 350. So if you add up the commercials, this probably will not survive for another 2 years. It doesn't add up. So the point is, I kept hearing for the last 2 days what kind of technology innovations are we doing and everything. So does my app, I mean, you can always say that I don't cater to this category at all, but do we have something for this category of school as well? So just to put things in order, I thought a lot of us have argued that we should put teacher at the center, and of course we should develop applications for the student. But the first roadblock that you hit is a teacher. That teacher does not accept anything new, anything that you innovate. And most likely the response, as Les said, was, is that another addition to my work? Do I need to do more? So what does a teacher want? And I reflect on my days of a short teaching stint. And I remember whenever I used to enter a class, my biggest worry was whether I will be successful in class or not. Whether people will give recognition to my efforts. My biggest worry was whether after the class when I leave, the students will snigger at me, or will they, say wow. In society as well, which is a larger picture. In India, I'm sure you would have known this by now, that teachers are not really the top class segment of the society. Some of us had already mentioned that somebody who doesn't get a job probably gets a teaching job. And the quality of teachers getting into the teaching practice, we actually did some study, and whatever database we have of teachers, we did some rough study. Somebody wanted teachers who had got a distinction plus or 80% plus in their school life and college and everything. We could hardly find anyone, So most of the teachers, if you look at their resumes, they would say 58%, which is not very good by Indian standards. They also want a fuller pocket, because I just told you that private school scenario, very small percentage of teachers are actually getting those kind of salaries, 25,000 and above. But a large section of teachers are actually getting very low salaries. So obviously they want a fuller pocket. And the worst part is in private schools, there is another big malpractice that is happening, even in colleges. What happens is when the teacher takes home a salary, typically nowadays they do electronic transactions into their accounts. But ironically, in some of the schools and colleges, they take a check back from the teachers. So if the teacher is supposed to be getting 25,000 rupees, the teacher is supposed to pay back by check, say 10,000 rupees to the college. So actually, it's a workaround, and such innovations happen in education in India. Sometimes they also want a career path, because most of the teachers know that they can't really rise to the next level. Most of the teachers are at the teaching level for the entire life. So there's no distinct career path. So what is he worried about when it comes to technology? New technology that will consume more time. Okay, obviously there are a lot of work to be done. Increasing non-academic work, will it increase my work in terms of, will I need to fill up so many data points, Excel file, all that stuff? Will there be performance measurements? Performance measurement, will I be exposed? That is the rising concern. Students and parents put a lot of pressure on the city school teachers, not probably village schools. Village schools, in fact, is the other way around. One of the things that this headmaster told me was, he was proudly saying this, that parents tell me that you can hit our children as much as you want. I mean, you can do whatever you want to. We have complete faith in you. That's what and he was very proud in saying that I am the guy who hits the children most in my school. So and he used to carry a stick all the time. So how do I measure, if I am developing an application for teachers, and I'm not referring to only rural or urban, I'm just saying generally, does it make my life, from a teacher's perspective, does it make my life more miserable? Does it require more time, more effort? more skills? Do I need to upgrade my skills and so on? I don't have any time anyways. So make it simple. I mean, give me a technology which can make my life simpler. Is it threatening me? You know, will you show my report card to my principal and I'll be out of job? No. Will it take away my job? Whether it's a robot or a machine or a program, but is it threatening my job as well? And the last one is, you know, when I enter the class, will my students actually know more than I do? Which is actually coming true nowadays. So will your technology make them even more smarter? So just a kind of advice or, you know, key mantras. You know, even though your application is built for the student, for the learner, I think you need to actually sell it to the teachers. And one of our efforts is getting the network in place so that you know, people who are developing applications can do beta testing on teachers and then you know, get a solid buy-in from the teachers so that they can further push it down the students. Without being we must make sharing possible, but then we should not sound very prescriptive that this is how you should do it. You know, I'm talking about teachers in general. There will be exceptions, but generally teachers would not want to be taught how to, you know, do things. This is a pure sales pitch, so I'm sorry if I'm I'm not going with the technology wizards here. And don't even try to play a turf war with a teacher. I mean, you will always lose the battle. So, and make her life easier. I'm sure you do, but ironically, what happens is we don't try to make it very explicit. You know, you always go in and because that's the sales pitch. So I go in school and tell them that this will make your life easier. But then how do you demonstrate it? That is very critical. But there is a silver lining. I thought I should play this small video. There is this school in Bihar which is run on Skype. You know, such simple technology. There is this guy who founded this school. He is from Bihar, that same village. Bihar is supposed to be one of the laggard states in India, and the founder of the school actually thought, why don't I bypass the entire thing? I mean, we all cry about teachers not being available and so on. Why don't I just,
Gurukul Trust,
you know, do away with that
400 students
hindrance
getting
and
a
start teaching on
world-class
Skype.
education.
So this fellow sits in Bangalore. He's an IT. He's an IT company.
The students you see in this classroom hail from different economic strata, yet all of them are getting quality education, which is comparable to the best in the world.
The idea of establishing the school was mooted by Chandrakant Singh, an IIT alumnus who hails from the same village.
I went to my native and then from where I educated basically. Something after 10 years of working, something we should give back to the society. And my philosophy is that what I can give best. It's like...
So, you know, we have been debating about whether e-learning is good or bad and so on. But like somebody said, I mean, you know, probably 100 million children don't even see a teacher every week. So for them, this is the only option. And if you want to scale up, I think this is simpler. So just one slide about what we are doing. And Beyond Teaching is basically a network of teachers. We are just trying to create a network where all this is possible, sharing knowledge and all that stuff. But the middle point, although I've put it on second level, but it should actually come to the first top point. And I believe that when you have a fuller stomach, you start thinking about larger things in life. So you need to fill their stomachs first. And channelizing financial resources into the network. This is the kind of network we have already. Spread all across India, everywhere. And we keep doing some physical workshops. Just an appeal, I thought I should end with, you know, all the technology people who are here. If you can help me, help Beyond Teaching, come across with any of these. I mean, if you can help me reach the network, expand. I'm sure 20,000 doesn't mean anything in Indian context. You've been hearing millions. So I'm sure we need to add like 3-4 more zeros to it. Communication channel, I mean, we are struggling with how do you make sure that teachers, we are able to communicate with the teachers every now and then. If I want to share a knowledge update, I want to make sure that people read. But unfortunately, even if they have registered online, they're not in the practice of coming to the website for knowledge updates. So then mobile technology is probably the only solution that we have. Sharing the right knowledge, right meaning, you know, if I have a biology teacher, I don't want to bombard him with some physics things or something. Right knowledge into the right pocket. And leveraging the network in terms of giving them more opportunities for knowledge sharing, for earning more. That's thank you. I think we can break for lunch, or if you have any questions. For profit, but I'm yet to see profits, so I'm aspiring to be for profit. Basically, the whole point was that we wouldn't be dependent on government funds or corporate funds or somewhere. We just want to earn for ourselves. There are several streams, I can discuss it later on, but I mean, broadly speaking, the jobs is very big revenue stream. Skills development. We are planning to do principal workshops, you know, training the principals, these kind of workshops.